Okay, folks, welcome to this episode of Behind the Start Line. My name is Eric Burnett. Once again, so happy to be here with you all, talking about moving, talking about just getting out there and having fun. As always, I'm here with Troy Schooley, and so happy to be here with you, Troy. How are you today?
I'm doing good, Eric. How are you?
Good, good. Hey, lots of great news, lots of exciting news. One of my favorite events of the years, I just found out is it's live, it's back, it's being pushed to the fall, which I actually love because the fall time is the perfect time to hit a 120-mile trail through Western Pennsylvania. So let's talk. Tell me a little bit about
Yeah.
the Gap Relay.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. So we opened up registration for the Gap Relay last week. We took 9 teams on the opening day, which I
That's
thought
huge.
was tremendous. In March to have 9 relay teams register for an event in October, I think that gives us a good indication of where we're going to be. So, we're super excited to get back, and we've talked about it before, but the Gap's one of my favorite events just because it takes a whole team. It takes a small army to put on a 150-mile event.
Yeah.
The Great Allegheny Passage is such a gem. And I don't even want to call it a hidden gem anymore because it is getting more, the PG did a great article last weekend of the Great Allegheny Passage. And I think that they had over 1 million visitors last year on the Gap.
Wow.
People from all over the world, not just the country, all over the world came in and either cycled or ran or, stayed at the B&Bs. It was just, it was a great article, and it really confirmed our, how we market the event, of how much of a fun event it is, and really the scenery, the whole 150 miles. It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what you all do for it has to be pretty tremendous. I feel like those numbers, are probably there for a big part because of this race and the exposure that P3R and the relay gives it. I'd never been on it before until I went there last year because I was doing a little bit of background research because I did that little segment, like an update halfway through. And yeah, I rode on it. I ran on it, and it's a gem 100%. And I just think the more people that can get out there, the better.
Yeah. I mean, I think this confirmed, when we started working on this, I think it's probably over 4 years ago now that we wanted to do a relay event and started talking about the Great Allegheny Passage. And I think that the recognition that it's getting now is only going to help the event over several years to come. Not just regionally, but nationally and hopefully internationally. We had people from Germany compete virtually last year. We had people from all over the world. Really, we hope some of those people come in because they are coming in to do it. And we hope that the dates work for some of those international visitors. And it'll just take that event just to a next level. It's exciting to, create an event from essentially scratch and then see it turn into what it's turned into. And really we're really just scratching the surface. The first year and a half is really figuring out how to make the event successful. Right. So our first year was kind of a test and see, make sure everybody's safe, and then change from there. And we've done that. Unfortunately, last year we had to change it virtual, but getting back in October, man, we're excited.
Yeah. Well, you've done such a good job, and I have to imagine this plays a huge role for the international folks of recording the whole course. You've got every single step of that course videoed. So these folks who are overseas or wherever they may be out of town, they have to be able to see that, and they get a glimpse of how beautiful it is and how incredible of a gem it is. And that's a huge selling point. That's a huge draw. I would want to fly here and do this race.
Right. Yeah. The marketing around that event is so crucial, right? When you see a 150-mile event, you're like, yeah, but if you market it correctly and showcase all the steps and really breakdown of what your responsibilities are going to be as a team member, I think it makes it a lot easier to say, hey, I can do this. And I want to see, the beautiful scenery from here to Cumberland, Maryland. And it's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you talk about the challenge and how it can be a little daunting, but something that I saw that's exciting about this year is you are offering a half course, right? 60 miles.
Right. 60 miles. We'll have a 2-person team and a 4-person team. The reason why it's all about the experience, and we don't want to let anybody out. And we've had people, single people say, I want to do the whole 150 miles. While we can't do that, a 2-person team can jump on a 60-mile route, from around the Ohio Pile down to Cumberland, Maryland, enjoy that, that stretch of it, each run 30 miles, more than a marathon. So yeah, we're just trying to bring in as many people as possible to give them exposure to that beautiful piece of land, really.
Totally. Well, tell me a little bit about that. Will the Ohio Pile group be starting on Friday the 15th as well, or will they be starting early morning on the 16th or somewhere in the night?
Yes, it's Saturday morning. So we're still working on the time, but it'll be early Saturday morning. That way,
Gotcha.
they'll be on that back half of the course when the participants that started Friday night. So we're working on logistics. I believe right now it's probably around 7 a.m. that they'll start. And another thing, the reason why we're doing this is that a lot of people can't take off work, so we're starting in Pittsburgh this year on Friday afternoon, Friday evening, which is good. But there might be people that just want to put a day into it. Sacrificing 2 days for an event is sometimes a little bit challenging for people. So this gives them an opportunity to really enjoy a Saturday on the trail. Maybe get 4 people out there and do 12 and a half, 13 miles, whatever it comes out to.
Yep.
But yeah, so I'm just super excited. I think we can do 100 teams this year. I really do. Dylan Junker, who's kind of our project manager for this event,
Yep.
he started working on, this is a year-round thing for him to make sure that all the landowners are along the trail are up to speed. Because really, not only do we want to showcase the trail, but any event that we do, whether it's in the city of Pittsburgh or surrounding areas or regional or national, we want to be able to give back to the community. And this event gives a great opportunity to give back to all the bed and breakfasts, all the local little shops along the trail. Obviously, they're doing well. Reading that Post-Gazette article, they're doing well. But just to showcase them a little bit more. So the more people, the better. We're excited.
Yeah, totally. Well, I mean, I'm excited. I've been saying it for years, but I really do think this is the year me and my pit buddies, we're going to get together and we're going to at least do the half option. I was checking. I do have a wedding on Friday night, but I want to get in there and try and get the half option in there for sure.
Yeah, you got to come out. And if you do the half option and talking about giving back, just a quick story. Cumberland, Maryland's an unbelievable place if you haven't been there. It's just a really unique small town in the middle of the mountains in Maryland. And something that's stuck out for 2 years since this happened to me, and it really was impactful to me, is we made a beg. So we used to start in Cumberland, Maryland, and come to Pittsburgh. This year we switched it. The reason why is that we want people that have done this all 3 years to see different aspects of the trail. Right. In the light versus like running through a high pile in the dark. Right. So a lot of the teams will be able to see Ohio Pile in the early morning now, and different, not just Ohio Pile, different aspects of Maryland and, Southwestern PA. But we made a bagel order, and this seems so small, but it's a big deal. We made a bagel order with a local bagel shop in Cumberland, Maryland. And we initially ordered, I can't even remember, $500, $600 of bagels. And she was so appreciative. And then our numbers kind of kept growing. So we called her back and we said, hey, can we order another 600? And this lady was almost in tears because of our order. She said that made her month for her shop, just that one order. And while that sounds small, talk about giving back to a small business like her bagel shop. And we may, by having this event and by having these great participants, we're able to give, $1,200, $1,300 back to a local bagel shop that made her month. I mean, it just really sticks out because it's so minimal, but it really is such a big deal in the grand scheme of things. So, we're excited to really give those small businesses back and showcase them. And like I said, Cumberland, Maryland's a gem. So yeah, we're going from Pittsburgh to Cumberland this year. We hope everybody, that finishes on Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, if they don't drive back to Pittsburgh, stay, enjoy. We'll have some, post-race activities for sure. And just hang out and enjoy Cumberland. So yeah, we're excited. We have so many events really close to opening of registration. The Liberty Mile is going to be opening very, very soon. We're working with the Great Race to open that event.
Yes.
We have another event that we haven't announced yet. That's a new event for P3R that will be opening in the next 3 to 4 weeks. So there's a lot happening. There's a lot going on.
Yeah. I mean, the cool thing I think that can happen in the pandemic is that if you are gung ho, if you're just fired up and ready to make the most of it, like you all are, is that you come out the other side with just all these great ideas and all these great, just actions that are ready to just fire. And I'm so excited. I have no idea what the secret event is, but I'm really excited to hear about it.
Yeah, I think that, what the pandemic's done, and I said this at the beginning of the pandemic to the staff, is that, we're going to survive as an organization. We're going to survive. We're very fortunate. We're going to survive, but it's how we strive. So when we get to the point that we're almost at right now, that we're bigger and better than ever. And like I said, we're very fortunate to be in the position to do that. But I think that what we'll see over the next couple of months is that we were really working behind the scenes. So when this day come, when we got back to a live start line, not only we, maybe at an event here or there, but the experience of the events that went away for a year because of the pandemic are going to come back, and people are like, wow, they were really working behind the scenes to enhance my experience. So it's good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Sharpening the saw for sure.
That's it.
Well, folks, you can get all the information that you want, as well as register for any and all of these events, including the Gap Relay, at p3r.org. That's going to be your home base for all of the great ways to move here in the city of Pittsburgh, and surrounding, obviously, all the way to Cumberland, Maryland. All right. What are we thinking? Are we going to hop into it?
Let's bring our guest on today.
Let's do this. Yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, I get excited about all of our guests because you all pick such great guests, but I really get pumped about our fundraisers, our charity runners. We've spoken about P3 runners in the past before. P3R, Troy, you all create such a great, foundation, a way to give back, so that when you're out there and you're moving, you're automatically giving back to yourself. You're giving back to your friends and your family because you just, you're becoming a better person. But there's more to it than that with P3 runners. And it's the ability to log miles, to hit goals, for local organizations, local fundraisers. And the individual who's on the show today, our guest, she's been doing this for years now, right, Troy?
Yeah, she's a repeat, participant for sure. And she's a repeat charity runner, which is tremendous. I think her story will be fun.
Yep. So, really excited to speak with her about all the different charities that she has run for and her experience with P3 runners. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring her on board. All right. And here she is, folks. Cara, thank you so much for being here with us today, Cara.
Sure. Excited to be here.
Yeah, we're so pumped. We just, we're looking over your accolades, and I think you laugh. And I think a lot of people, when they think of running and endurance events, when they hear accolades, they automatically think, oh, how many medals have you won? How many times have you been on the podium? But you are a perfect example of, accolades can also be stacked up in how much you give back. And you've done that just year after year with the Run for a Reason charity program. And I'm excited to hear more about that. Tell us a little bit about your experience, maybe how you got started, how you got first introduced to it, and when.
Sure. So my entry into Run for a Reason was actually when I first started running. I did the relay back in 2013, I believe, for Mary Lou Me Foundation, because my grandfather had just been diagnosed with Hodgkin's disease. And so it lined up really well. Some family members and I, you want to do something and there's nothing you can really do. So that seemed like at least a way to give back while he was fighting, as well as, give back to the community at large.
Sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now you've ran for a couple different ones though, Cara, right?
Yes.
So
sure.
I guess tell us all of the charities you ran for. And then, but because this is interesting, and I love this kind of mentality to do it this way. Tell us a little bit about the impact that you've seen for each individual charity, because
Sure.
we want people to run for charity. If they switch each year, I think that's awesome. If they stay with, because they have a background of whatever, I think that's important as well. So tell us a little bit about your journey with all the different charities and the impact that you made.
Sure. So from 2013 to about 2015, I did the relay with Mary Lou Foundation, brought it actually to my company. We had a couple of teams for the company. I did take a little time off from Run for a Reason, not from running, but just from Run for a Reason, but came back in what I think was a big way to celebrate my 20th half marathon in 2020.
Nice.
I fundraised for the Alzheimer's Association. Both my grandmothers have had Alzheimer's, so that is certainly a cause near and dear to my heart. And then this year I started out to raise money for the Pittsburgh Food Bank, trying to get to the back half, and I have succeeded, which is a very exciting thing.
Nice.
And then I have some exciting news. I made a little bit of a switch on my own self and have opted to go for the full in 2021 and then the back half in 2020. So
wow.
Yeah, I'm nervous, excited, all of the emotions about that.
So this will be your first full.
Yes.
Wow. Congrats. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What do you have planned for the first full virtually?
Yeah, so I'm leaning pretty hard on the Pittsburgh move Pittsburgh genre, because I am not going to attempt to run it. That is a commitment and an amazing achievement in and of itself. I'm just hoping to walk the 26.2 miles.
Yep.
I'm doing it with some friends. We're kind of planning on making a day of it, breakfast, lunch, snacks, etc. along the way, doing the actual course in Pittsburgh.
Awesome.
Nice. Yeah,
that's a great example. That's the one thing, Cara. Obviously, we wish we were at a live start line this year. We're going to be back very soon. Yeah. But I think the one thing that virtual has done has allowed people like you to move the way they want to move, right? Mm-hmm. So normally, if you chose your first full marathon this year under a live circumstance, you couldn't stop and have breakfast on East Carson or do whatever, but virtual allows you to do that. And I think that's a really cool thing about virtual is you get to pick your pace and you get to pick the way you want to move. So I think
the day, I'm hoping it won't be, I'm not going to pick a rain day.
Right.
Yeah, so. Totally. Yeah. I mean, you could do a cool thing. Like you could honestly start shortly after sunrise or at sunrise and really just make the whole day and then finish up, just downtown having a great meal as the sun's setting. It's so neat. The possibilities are endless. And I definitely am encouraged by what you're doing. And I wouldn't mind an invitation either. I feel like I say that it's probably borderline creepy, but I feel like I say that to all of our guests because they're all so cool. And I just they have such great ideas and I want to be a part of them somehow. But,
right. So you've said that to probably half of our guests, right?
I know.
Cara, ask him how many people have responded with the opportunity for Eric to join. Probably zero.
Now, come on.
So, Cara, if you want to be the first person to actually invite Eric, all right, let's, because that would probably make his day.
It would definitely make my day. I'm totally a nerd. I just want to get out there and just have some fun, do some things like that. But
sure.
It's okay. I don't want to impede on your cool group, but in the end, I just think it's a really cool idea, and I applaud you for jumping on it. And it's your first marathon. Are the people that you're going to be moving with on that day, is it their first marathon as well?
I think at least one, if not two other people, it's their first. I'm not sure about the rest of the group. Some of them may have done a marathon a long time ago and been like, yeah, that's all I want to do with that distance. Sure. Because I know that there are a lot of opinion. You either love it or it's not for you. But I know at least one other person, and it was actually really her idea. Jackie came up with it, and she's a fellow P3R runner. So I do not want to take credit for her awesome idea. I just sort of messaged her after I saw her Instagram post, and I was like, I would 100% be in on walking that full thing. So
you get that big fat medal too.
I know.
The marathon medal is massive.
I know.
Dinner plate.
Oh, it's ridiculous. That's exciting. Now you touched on something a little bit earlier, but I got to come back to it because us as a team are super excited. Well, we were super excited to launch it. Then we went virtual, but now we're even more excited for 2022. the back half marathon. So, you know, you were one of the people that raised $1,500 to have a spot at that start line, and definitely your spot is going to be reserved. You'll be front of the line. You'll be there. But tell us a little bit about what excited you about that back half marathon and that opportunity to raise those funds.
Sure. So I have never done the back half of the Pittsburgh Marathon. All of the relays, I was actually our first leg. With two of them, I was going on to run my half. The first one, I would just did the 5 miles, and that was all I could possibly manage that day. So that was my number one thing. In addition to just, you know, raising the money for charity, raising the awareness of the charity, that type of thing. I just liked that this was such an interesting way of dealing with, I would imagine, the challenges from the pandemic that P3R was dealing with, as well as the challenges the charities are dealing with. And so it just seemed like such a great combination of two amazing things. And then I would get to actually finish out the full course. I'm kind of screwing myself up there. I'm getting a little preview this year with my walk, but I think it'll be a little different running the thing next year.
Yeah, you'll be in the masses. You know, you'll have all those other runners around you, and you get that marathon experience. And so
yeah,
it'll be
for sure.
It'll definitely be different. Do you have a particular part of the back half? Like, are you looking forward to Highland Park? Are you looking like what's the area that you're most excited about?
I've heard that Homewood is quite the party.
Yeah,
so everyone
sure.
I know, our runner for that leg, and off the top of my head, I can't remember what that one was for the relay, came back every year and was like, that was so much fun. Like, I'm not going to do a different leg next year. I just want to do this one. So I'm very excited. I just think that that'll be just such a cool space to run. But really it's the whole thing. I haven't gotten to do it. I've done training runs out that way, but there's a different atmosphere on
it's not marathon weekend. I mean,
right.
It really is.
Yeah.
The city comes out, and you know, some areas come out in different ways. But yeah, that's really exciting. That's awesome.
That whole back, I mean, listen, all of our neighborhoods are great, but being able to see that back half, all those neighborhoods, Homewood's a hell of a party. Bloomfield, I mean, that'll be fun for you to run through Bloomfield, all the spectators lined up on Liberty on Bloomfield, and then just coming down into the city. So, you know, that was our reasoning behind it. The people that have, you know, ran so many halves and so many, you know, essentially first half of the course, to be able to, instead of hear about it from people, to be able to experience that and, you know, cross the finish line on that back half. So that's exciting. So like I said, we'll have your spot ready for you.
Yay.
Totally. Hey, hopping back to the Run for a Reason program, have you had a chance? Have you witnessed or felt the impact that, and not just your contributions, but on the organizations that you have contributed to? Have you been able to feel the impact of what the Run for a Reason charity program has had?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I feel like the impact is a couple of different ways, right? So there's an obvious monetary impact, but I think it's also the community that gets created around the Run for a Reason program in particular. And it's regardless of charity that you're running for. I have a bunch of friends that also do Run for a Reason. Basically, we all contribute to each other's campaigns. We're all like supporting each other, trying to get to our goals. And it's a different type of goal than the normal, how to describe it? Like the usual running goal is very
hit a
time,
time,
or
pace,
it's about distance, or it's about, you know, I want to run 4 days a week or whatever.
Sure.
This is just a totally different goal.
Yep.
Not saying it's whether it's more or less achievable. I do not know the answer to that question, but
they're both difficult in their own ways.
Oh yeah. And it's been so interesting, the creativity that people have around their fundraising. I'm certainly not a particularly creative person, but I've been very proud of my fellow Run for a Reason teammates across charities, because they come up with such unique ways to raise money. So and get the word out. And the other thing that I like is just the awareness of the different charities. So many of them are exclusive to Pittsburgh, not all of them, but quite a few. And they're doing such amazing work here in the city. So it's just really, really awesome to see.
Yeah, you know, 90% of those funds, 90% of the funds raised by our charity runners stay local. You know, and that's a major number. If you look around the country, I think that's got to be the highest of any event. I think one thing that you just said there, and it stuck out to me, and I really haven't heard it before, but I'm definitely going to steal it from you right now, is teammates. You said the Run for a Reason teammates. And I think that's a great way to look at it, because at the end of the year, if we raise $1.2 million or $1.5 million for local charities, it was a team effort that did that. And just because you ran for, you know, Mary Lemieux Foundation or Alzheimer's, you guys were all on a team to combine to get that. So thank you for bringing that up, because I think that's a great way to look at it. And everybody's going to do it differently, right? So everybody's going to move differently. But at the end of the day, you're all on a team with the same cause at the end, and that was to raise money for local charity. The component to be able to do that was participating in this event. But I think the team aspect is really good.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, we all know that coming together and having a common goal, it's just always, there's something about it. It's that much more rewarding than achieving something individually. You know, yes,
Right.
obviously you have that pride in doing something on your own, but when you come together and you create something as a team, it's that much sweeter.
Yeah, to that point. So Cara, you've ran 20 half marathons.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of those have been ran for charity, but is there a different feeling of accomplishment after you finish a half that you raised, you know, $1,500 for Alzheimer's or something? Like, tell us a little bit about that feeling, because I'm assuming it's a little bit different and probably more gratitude.
Sure. Oh, definitely. It was actually kind of interesting. So last year was my 20th half in 2020, which was, I guess, the worst time to have your 20th half be. I did it virtually, obviously. And what was actually kind of cool about it is, since it was virtual, I created my own route. And I live on Mount Washington. So I made the jaunt down PJ McCurdle and actually went and took like a selfie in front of the Alzheimer's Association's like office sign or something like that. Just, I mean, at that point I was trying to get myself through 13.1 miles by myself. And I was like, I'm going to do a little scavenger hunt. But that was my way of reminding myself why I do this and why it is such an important thing. I think it's just for me, it is a reminder of, you know, it's an accomplishment to run any race of any distance. This just adds another like layer of accomplishment on top of it.
For sure. Yeah,
that's a great point.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about moving to make a difference, and again, you can do that individually to change your health, to change your outlook on life. But you're certainly doing it on another level whenever you start making a difference for these organizations. And so kudos to you for doing that. Do you enjoy, and I know we touched a little bit on this, but is your preference to switch up your different organizations? Like, are you like, oh yeah, I'd like to, you know, spread the wealth, or, you know?
I mean, I think I'm going to land on I had to. I've done 3 between Mary Lemieux Foundation, Alzheimer's, and now the Pittsburgh Food Bank. I think it's sort of just cheesy as it sounds, whatever speaks to me whenever I'm signing up for the race.
Absolutely.
And what I think makes the most sense for that time period. And I've done a lot. I have a strong connection with all of them. I think I touched on the first 2. For the food bank, I advise a chapter of a sorority at Duquesne, and our philanthropic focus is fighting hunger. So I've got to learn through that work about the struggles, and just, it was more eye-opening. I became more aware of the situation both locally and globally. And that was sort of, as I've deepened that education for myself, I just wanted to give back in that fashion.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. So many good lessons to learn from you, from the program.
The program's so great.
Yeah.
And it's been amazing too, because I've done other charity races, but this feels a little different than just a regular charity race, because it's a component of a larger thing. That's at least
and tell us like, I can always talk about it, but as an actual participant, tell us a little bit about the ease of when you select this year, obviously the food bank, how easy was that process to you to get registered to raise money and participate in the event?
Sure. You click a button on Race Roster. That
See, I'm
is
not lying. Like when I tell
literally
people, I'm
all
not
you
lying.
do. There is a specific, and then if you don't do it right away, you can do it at a later date.
Right. You can go back and change it and be like, hey, I want to run for a charity now.
Right.
It's
So
it's
is
really easy.
the easiest, like that part is easy. Like the fundraising, there's definite challenges to that. I mean, I know like I've contributed to mine, but like it's just see who your contacts are. I
Yeah.
mean, you never know who has a personal connection with the charity that you chose to run for. And that's another connection that you have with that individual now too. So it's really, I think, a great way of I keep using the phrase building community, but it really does,
Yeah, it
in
does.
this
Yeah, it brings
very
people together.
disconnected time.
Sure.
It's a good way to bring people together.
For sure.
Definitely. Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, Troy, but because I could see definitely a big hurdle for a lot of people, including myself, who, are interested in fundraising, but they're just like, if I just don't, like you were saying a second ago, Kara, like I don't know who to reach out to for as a donor. It Again, I could be wrong with this, but Troy, isn't there's some resources on the site as well that we can
For
reach
sure.
out,
Yeah.
and you guys can help your runners get connected with some potential donors, right?
Right. I mean, we try to essentially knock down all barriers
Right.
to be able to raise funds, right? So if it's not us, it's going to be with Cara, maybe people at the food bank, because she's running for the food bank. So the food bank staff is going to help her raise the funds, or maybe give some ideas.
They do.
Different. Yeah, exactly. And different charities do different fundraisers for their runners to come and essentially give those funds to the runners. So I think, and Cara touched on it earlier, but I've seen so many cool, mixers and fundraising ideas come out of the actual charities. And I'm like, let's go. There's literally no barriers to entry for this one besides clicking an extra button. It really is that simple. And I think that, like you said, Eric, like in the back of your mind, like, do I have to, in Cara's case, 1,500, some cases 500. Is that going to be hard? I think we make it really, really easy. It's still, don't get me wrong, it's still challenging. You still have to, like Cara said, work your network. But at the end of the day, it's neighbors helping neighbors. It's community helping community. Yeah. And I think that, never do we want to see somebody come under their charity numbers, if they don't get, so we're going to help them out. And so are the charities. So I think that's the cool part, is that I think all the charity, it comes back to the team thing too. All the charities are on a team. Yeah. They have a budget that they need to, that they want to raise for the marathon, but they're all rooting for each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I get regular communications, this year from the food bank, last year from Alzheimer's Association, a little bit further back from the Mary Lemieux Foundation. It's pretty regular. They want to, help you however they can. They'll provide form letters for you to go, send to email to your friends and family. They'll provide graphics for your social media, which is really helpful, because that is, I enjoy making those, but I don't know that everyone feels the same way. And I'd rather use the ones vetted by the charity that have the actual, like, this is the amount that this is what we did over the last year, to validate why we should continue to support these places.
I'm just trying to think of those hurdles, and it seems like you guys have knocked all of them pretty much down. The one other thing that sticks out in my mind is there's no harm to not reaching your goal, right? So you sign up, and even with all that support, if you don't reach it, it's not like you're going to get a slap on the wrist or anything. It's just,
we're going to encourage people to get to that number, because it helps the charities, obviously. So
it's really what I'm trying to say, and I think what we're all trying to say is, if to our listeners, to our viewers, if you're thinking about it at all, just go find a charity that speaks to you and click a button, and then that'll start you down that path. If you reach your goal, great. If you don't, it's fine. At least you started, and at least you tried.
Yep.
Well, and you're not out any money from that perspective, because you pay, correct me if I'm wrong, Troy, you pay up front for the race. Mm-hmm. Once you meet a certain threshold, your race fee actually gets sent back to you. I just donated mine back because I had already budgeted for the race, so it just seemed like an easy way of donating back to my charity. Cool. And then then you continue to fundraise if you have other goals.
Yep.
And a lot of the charities, they give you some pretty decent swag. Like
Mm.
I think we're getting t-shirts or something that have kind of fun pun, like I don't want to spoil anything for the food bank, but they sent a preview, and
That's
it's
awesome.
pretty fun.
That's
So
cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
just
tons
another-
of creative ideas out there.
Yeah, it makes you feel a part of the team. Well, all I know is that from, I've done a few Race for the Cures, and I just know that when I'm coming down that home stretch, and you can feel that sense of what I just accomplished. It goes beyond myself. And
right.
the cool thing about this program is that, yes, there's not like a title fundraiser for the marathon, but you can create it for yourself. You can pick that organization so that when you come across the line, you can be thinking about it, you can be feeling those folks affected by hunger or by Alzheimer's, or by cancer. And when you cross that line, it's just like this, it's emotional. It gets emotional.
Sure.
And you can create, and the point is, everyone who's listening, you can create that for yourself, and P3R has created that ability for you to do it really easily.
Absolutely.
So,
Cara,
cool.
20 half marathons. Do we have any race day, pre-race day rituals, like goofy ones?
Yes.
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm a big fan of the pre-race, like the night before race meal. I tend to go for either pizza or nachos.
Okay. Good.
Personally, in the morning, it's usually I actually really like Noon's podium series, so I do
Shout
that.
out to Noon. That's a way.
Shout out to Noon.
Get those partners in there.
You're
Yes.
welcome.
It's a good gift when they're talking about partners. Yeah, it is it's a great product.
It is.
It is. I've been using it for years, and
Yeah.
I'm a big fan. So I like that. For anything that is in Pittsburgh, I've obviously done races outside of Pittsburgh as well. I like to walk to the race. I've always been lucky enough to live close enough that I can make that happen for myself. Not sure if I'm going to walk to the start of the walking marathon. That is still up in the air. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Nothing
Good.
too crazy. I do the flat lay the night before.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty common one though.
That's
So.
gaining some traction. I see more and more of those.
When I don't,
Flat
I
cares.
like lose something. Like something has gone missing, and it is not good. So
It's funny. I've never heard of that. So you just lay flat on your back, and are you envisioning your race, or?
no. That's an interesting idea. No, you lay all of your clothing on like the ground or on a couch or something.
Got it.
And make sure you know where your bib is, you know where your shoes, your socks, your nutrition, empty water bottles, all of that stuff is in one spot. When I don't do that, I tend to forget the nutrition part, and then I regret it. So
And then you got to post it, Eric.
Yes, you
You gotta let everybody. You gotta let everybody know you're ready.
I've seen
you
that.
cover the number though.
I just didn't know it was called
Yes.
the flat lay. Yeah.
Got to cover the number because somebody could steal your bib. So
That's crazy. I can't believe that. So
apparently it happens. I don't know.
They print out like a fake bib number and they say I'm
It feels
Cara.
exhausting. I can't imagine doing that.
Seems
like a lot.
Yeah, just pay for entry. Come on now.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, we have one more question before you head out. And Troy, I like that question. That might have to be our official season 2 question.
That just came to me.
I like that.
Yeah.
So just in case that doesn't stick, I think it will, but just in case, our season 1 question it's a pretty simple, broad stroke question, but the one thing about you, Cara, that we don't know, that secret thing, that shocking thing, what is it? Or that most people don't know?
That's the same for this season?
Yeah. It's kind of been carrying over.
Yeah, you got like 2 questions. You got like 2 extra bonus questions, Cara.
Yeah.
But
Fantastic.
Yeah,
gold star.
Something that surprises people or that people don't know. I think this is still true. For the longest time, I had been further east than I had west. So I've been to Russia, and the furthest west I've been to California now, but I'm pretty sure it's still further to Russia. So I haven't actually done the math on that, but I went to Russia before I went to California first.
That's
so I know
rare.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's really rare. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's
that
really cool
that one usually is a surprising one just because it's weird.
Cool. See, I'm glad we're still asking because that's a really cool one.
I still like that question. Yeah.
Still pretty good.
It's a good question.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Cara, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Just inspired. And I really hope a lot of people are going to take you as a leader and as someone to just follow in line with, because it's, your words have been, again, like I said, inspiring, and it just opens our minds to how easy it can be to make a difference. I hesitate to say easy because you're still working your butt off. You are. But taking that first step is simpler than everyone thinks. So thank you for shedding light on that for us.
Yeah,
Perfect.
thanks, Cara, for all you do for our charity program. It's great, and for P3 runners. Keep up the good work, and we will see you live at a start line very soon.
Yes, and
I can
Hopefully.
I can promise that.
yes, and good luck with your first marathon. Super
Thank
excited.
you.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. I appreciate it.
Yep. Pick a good day. Pick some good weather. Not
That's the
today.
goal. That is the goal.
Not today. Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you, Cara.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Another great guest.
Yeah, she was tremendous.
Yeah.
Somebody that has ran for charity and different charities each year.
Mhm.
I think that's so commendable. And our charities need, not just through the pandemic, but every year our charities need it. And we continue to emphasize on that program. And Cara's a good example of, we need hundreds of more Caras to be able to raise that money for them.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you mentioned at any time, but you're certainly right. During the pandemic, especially right now, we're all getting hit by it. And so, what better way to give back than to get out there and to support these charities that, they have the influence.
Right.
I've raised funds for, food banks before, and you don't realize how, when you work through them, they have the ability to turn $1 into 5 meals. And so, your dollar goes so much further whenever you actually give it to a charity who has those resources.
That's a great, that's a great point, because people say, well, it's not a big deal if I raise $100 for a charity. It really is.
It's huge.
The budgets for some of these nonprofits and these charities that we work with are small, and they need every dime to be able to fulfill their mission. And we work with all sizes, but I don't want people to ever think like, oh, minimum fundraising of 500, that's not going to do anything. It does a lot. It does a lot. And these charities always talk about it afterwards, of how appreciative they are of the person that raised 250 or the person that raised 2,500. They're super appreciative to be able to fulfill their mission.
Yeah. I mean, again, I just, the food bank option, I think, is something that I always try and remember. If you raise $100, it honestly feeds 500 people. It's just
amazing.
incredible. So, I mean, and again, you all make it easy for runners to be a part of this program. There are so many different charities that can get you inspired. The website is set up in a way that it's very simple to do so. You can run for charity in any of the events that you have on marathon weekend. Everything from even the pet walk, you can raise.
Yeah,
funds
any
doing the
event.
pet walk.
We pet walk. We've had a lot of our younger our Kids of Steel students raise money for different charities.
Mhm.
That's a 1 mile event. It's just getting out there. It comes back to our mission of getting people to move. In this case, they're moving for a charity. So,
Yep.
every event you can participate in and raise those funds.
And what a great lesson.
Like you said,
Go
Eric,
ahead.
like it's really easy to do. I mean, it's you go register, you attach yourself to your charity of choice. We work really closely with the individual people within those charities, usually the development managers or project managers. But if individuals have a question, they can email us, runforareason@p3r.org. We get back it's a priority of ours. So we have a person that works, pretty much full time on charity to make sure that we continue to elevate that program. So we try to make it as easy as possible, as seamless as possible, because in the end, we want to raise as much money and be able to talk about raising over $1 million each year for these local charities.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, talk about a great lesson. You spoke about the Kids of Steel program, and, they're learning so much and getting so many lifelong lessons throughout that program alone. But you add in fundraising to it. I mean, it's just, it doesn't get any sweeter than that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, and of course the perks as well, the ability to gain, comped registration for the race. Those are just things. Obviously, those are cherries on top.
Yeah, you raise the money, you get to run for free.
I mean, come on.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And then we talked a little bit about during the interview with Cara is the back half. I mean, we were so excited to be able to launch the back half marathon this year.
Yes.
And then with the pandemic, so now it has to wait a little bit, but I think that is going to be an unbelievable feature to the 2022 marathon, is be able to see all those charity runners essentially get VIP treatment on the back half. And in Cara's case, a lot of the times people haven't seen that back half. They've heard about running through, Bloomfield or down through, Strip, things like that. But now they're going to be able to see it and cross that off the bucket list. So a lot of exciting perks to come with the charity program, a lot that we have now, frankly.
Yeah, totally. That's super exciting. Again, just another example of you guys, the wheels are always turning. So
have to be.
So real quick, just again, folks, if you're interested at all in running for a reason and being a part of the P3 Runners program, you can go to runforareason@p3r.org. That's who you can email for any questions, or of course you can head to p3r.org to look into the program and find out all that you need to know.
Yep.
Very cool. Folks, as we've done a couple of times before on this program, we've had people send in questions. We love that you're sending in questions. We want to be engaged with our listeners, with our viewers. And we have one right here that we're going to talk about right now. This one comes from Jim from Oakmont. It's where I was born.
Nice.
Pretty cool. Yeah. He asked why the Gap Relay is starting in Pittsburgh this year. Are we excited and ready for the change?
Well, we talked about it briefly, but we'll get a little bit more in depth. So we always want to create that experience for our runners. We've had so many teams that have ran the first 2 years of the Gap Live. And they're kind of our base. So we wanted to switch it up for them to be able to see different aspects of the Great Allegheny Passage, frankly, when it's light out. So a lot of the portion of the event now or previously was ran in the dark, which is super cool. But when you're running through Ohio Pile and all you can hear is the stream, and then deer running here and there, we wanted to be able to see that in person and for them to be able to take pictures of that. So we flipped it up this year. Another reason is that Cumberland, people had to take a full day off because we would start on Friday morning, right? So we wanted to be able to, those people that didn't want to take a day off, we figured we start in Pittsburgh on Friday afternoon, Friday evening. That way they're here. A lot of our, participants come from the region, and then that way they can end in Cumberland on Saturday morning. They don't have to take a day. They can enjoy Cumberland Saturday evening, maybe stay, drive back Sunday night, or drive back Saturday night. So that's the reason for the switch. I don't know if we'll alternate. We're going to see how this year goes. But are we excited? Absolutely. I think that, not only are we excited about the switch, from Pittsburgh to Cumberland, because it gives us more work, but it gives us some different viewpoints as well operationally. But adding the 2-person team, the 60-mile portion, the 4-person team on the 60-mile portion, it's just going to be able to, frankly, grow the event. I see some of those 60-mile people, and Eric, you talked about it. This could be you. They do the 60-mile with 4 people this year, and they're like, we got to do the whole thing. We have to see we got to see the whole trail. So they come back the previous year, and then we kind of refill those with new people that heard about it. Maybe they only want to do the 60. So this is a great event growth area for sure. And yeah, we're super excited. Fall is a coin flip. It's either going to be super beautiful or it's going to be like, yeah, let's plan for some weather. But with that being said, I mean, they get to wear a badge if they have to run through, 35 degrees and sleet again. So
again, right. Yeah, no, totally. Well, I mean, I'm excited about the flip. I'm a small town kind of guy, and I can't imagine a better place to hold a post-race party with, hopefully 100 teams, 100+ teams. And it's going to be fun.
A lot of good eat, a lot of good drink in Cumberland.
Yes.
It'll be a blast. So
get me there.
Yep.
Get me there.
Jim, thanks for the question there. That's good stuff. Eric, speaking of questions real quick, we want to be able to have an episode that I answer all these questions, like multiple questions.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like we want to get like 20 questions
Oh,
from people
yeah.
and have a whole pod that I
Yes.
can just be uncensored Troy and just go through this list of questions. So keep
Yes.
sending the questions. It doesn't matter what it is. I think Eric knows and the producers know that I'm very outspoken and I'll be very honest with the questions and you probably won't get that anywhere else. So keep the questions coming.
Wow. You guys heard it. The gauntlet has been laid down, or so to speak.
Challenge.
The challenge. And man, you might be setting yourself up for some.
I love talking about it.
Yeah. Well, who knows what they're gonna send? You really
That's
just
fine.
open the door. All questions.
Pandora's box is
Yeah,
open.
it is. It has been. It has been. Well, awesome. I totally agree. I definitely think in the end, we just want to interact with all you folks. So please send in your questions, send in your comments. Let us know how we're doing, and if there's any way we could create a more enjoyable experience.
Yeah, enhance the experience.
Enhance
just like our events. If we can enhance the podcast, we will.
Absolutely. Well, folks, thanks again so much for tuning in to Behind the Start Line, yet another episode. As always, you can follow us on social media at Run with P3R. And you can also reach out with any questions, Troy says, or feedback at behindtheline@p3r.org. We really hope you will. We hope to hear from you, and we hope to see you next time on the next episode of Behind the Start Line. Again, my name's Eric Burnett. Troy, thank you so much for everything.
See you next time, buddy.
Yeah. See you next time. And everybody, in the meantime, have fun and keep moving.